Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I haven't posted one of these since January just because I've kind of been in like a slump, so I haven't been reading too many books, so I didn't want to do a wrap up until I actually had a good amount of books to put in the wrap up. This video is going to be my February and March reading wrap up. So in total in February and March I read 5 books, which is pretty good for being in a slump. It took me a while to read some of these books, not because they were bad, just because like I couldn't pick them up just because like I wasn't in the mood to read. So the first book I read was Hunting Adeline, and I don't even know what to say about this book. Like, you guys have probably heard so much about it. I rated it 3.5 stars. It wasn't terrible. I haven't really read that many dark romances, so I don't even really know what to look for in them. It was questionable, but I also kind of ate it up. I don't know. It was weird. I don't condone anything that was in it, and definitely look up the trigger warnings before you go into it. But some parts I was loving it. And then other parts you have to go into it knowing it's a dark romance, like dark. Look up the trigger warnings before you read it and make sure you're okay with all of these topics, because there's one big topic that like the book is kind of like revolves around. And I know I haven't read the second book, but I know that the second book is kind of like more immersed in that topic, so definitely look up the trigger warnings. Solid 3.5 stars. That's all I'm gonna say. And I read Hunting Adeline on my Kindle, that's why I don't have it, and I don't think I'm gonna buy it just because I don't really want that on my shelf, and I feel like it's just gonna be a waste of money because like the covers are pretty, don't get me wrong, but I don't want people seeing I have that. Anyways, then the next book I read is Swift and Saddled. It's the second book to Done and Dusted. This was not my most anticipated release, but one of my most anticipated release of 2024. And I loved it. I read it as soon as it came out. My friend is borrowing it right now, that's why I don't have it with me, but loved it so much. I love that series so much. It wasn't as good as the first one. The first one I think I rated 4.75. Then this one I rated 4.25. A lot of reviews I've seen about Swift and Saddled, people are like, oh, like I didn't like it that much. Like the first one was so much better. I didn't like the trope of this one. I get that. But like I definitely liked the first one better, but this one I enjoyed like very close to the same amount. Do you hear what some people are saying by like it's more just like physical attraction? Which it is at the beginning, obviously, like most relationships are, but it does kind of like focus on that physical attraction at first, but then you can tell that it grows into an emotional connection and you're experiencing that with them. And I loved Ada. I love her. She's so... This one is about Wes, who is the brother from Done and Dusted. And he is so sweet. Like, he is just a sweetheart. And basically, what he's doing on the farm is renovating the old house that's on the farm. That's like his goal. That's what he wants to do. But he can't do it by himself. So he hires a contractor, which is the main girl from Done and Dusted's friend. So they call her down from the city. She comes down. And the first night she spends there, before she knows anybody, before she's even met Wes, she goes to a bar. And she meets Wes, not knowing it's him. Like, they don't know it's each other. And they kind of have little sparks. And then the next day, she goes to meet her boss, and it's him. And they have to work together. And yeah, I thought it was really good. It's all on the ranch and stuff, so it's cowboy. I love my cowboys. I'm really bad at explaining books, but that's like the best I can do. I don't want to spoil anything, but... yeah. Then I got back into the Chestnut Springs series because after reading Swift and Saddled, I wanted to get back into my favorite series. And so I read Powerless by Elsie Silver. I I love the Chestnut Springs series, but this one, it just fell flat for me. It was still really good. I still rated it 4 stars, but it was just missing like that cowboy aspect of it. I already talked about this in one of my last videos I did, so I'm not going to go too in depth with this one, but it was focused more on the hockey aspect, and like they weren't really on the ranch during this book. It was more like they were on a road trip and stuff, and it didn't feel like the Chestnut Springs series to me. I love Jasper. I love him so much, and I love Sloane in this. She's so sweet. I love them together. They're one of my favorite book couples from the Chestnut Springs series. I just didn't love this book. That's all I'm gonna say for this one. If you wanna hear like my full in-depth review, go watch my other video. It was my reading cowboy romances for a week. I talked about this one because it was one of the ones I read. And yeah. And then following up on that one, I read Reckless by Elsie Silver. I love this book. I love this book. Theo, I love him. I absolutely love him. And Winter in this, I hated Winter. Like in the first book with like Summer and like the whole Summer and Winter drama. I love how their names are Summer and Winter, but like where you found out little bits about Winter, I hated her. I hated her. And I was so upset when I found out this book was about her. I was like, what do we need her for? Pick anybody else. I don't care. But now I love her. I love her. We got her backstory. We got everything we needed to get. I loved it. And I think Theo is my second favorite guy in the Chestnut Springs series. Kate is my favorite, always will be, but Theo, very close second. I usually hate the pregnancy trope as well, but it was done so well. Oh my god. I didn't even care. And I loved the kid in this. Like, I looked forward to the scenes where the kid was in it. That was weird. Like, I'm not like that, but I was. And it was throwing me off, but really enjoyed it. I rated this one, I think, 4.25 stars. All of the Chestnut Springs series books so far are between a 4 and a 5 star. This one is about Summer's sister Winter, who basically she has a one-night stand with this bull rider named Theo, who is Rhett's kind of like protege. And she ends up getting pregnant, and when she tries to tell him, she tells him like over text because like she can't get a hold of him because he's like a bull rider, so he's going on like trips and stuff. And they weren't going to see each other for a long time, but then she was like I'm pregnant, like I need to tell him. So she told him, and then it skipped to like, what was it, like 18 months later? He didn't come back, and I was so mad. I was like, but he makes up for it. I definitely recommend this book. Even if you hate the pregnancy trope, I did a really bad job at explaining it, but trust me when I say this book is so good. The whole Chestnut Springs series is so worth it. If you're gonna spend your money on anything, let it be this series. And then lastly, I read my first Emily Henry book. I read Book Lovers, and this was painful to get through. This is what kind of like solidified my slump. I don't know what it was because the book was good. Like, I feel like if I wasn't starting to get into a slump, I would have enjoyed it more. I was waiting for it to pick up, and it just didn't. I just didn't really feel the chemistry between them, and it kind of fell flat. It was still good. Like, I would definitely recommend it. I loved the writing. It was super fast paced, but I didn't really connect with the characters at all, or the town, or like anything. This is about Nora, who is a literary agent, and Charlie, who is an editor and publisher, I think. Basically, Nora's sister wants to go on like a trip to Sunshine Falls, which is where a book that was just published took place. Like, the book like took off and stuff, so Nora's sister wants to go there. And so Nora's like, sure, let's go, because you need me, I'll be there for you. And so they go to Sunshine Falls, which is this small town, and in the book it's like all glorified and stuff. And then when they get there, it's like this like rundown little town that's like nowhere near what it was like in the book. And Nora walks into a coffee shop and she sees Charlie. What is he doing here? It's kind of like rivals to lovers. I don't know. It's really confusing. I don't really remember what it was about that much. I rated it 3 stars. Nothing special. I want to reread this at some point just because I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if I wasn't in a slump. Like, I don't think the book was bad. I think it was just the state of mind I was in at that time. But yeah, those are all 5 books that I read in February and March. Right now, I've only read 1 book in April so far. Like, I'm still reading it. I haven't even read a full one yet. This slump is killing me. I'm not doing well. I need to get out of it because I have so many books I want to read and so little time. So I'm hoping when the weather starts warming up again, I'll get out of the slump, because this is what happened last year. I was in a slump until summer, and then when summer hit, I was flying through books. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.